Hi, my name is Dean Paul Deniston, and today we'll be replacing the controller on our Power A2. This is a pretty easy process. It should take you approximately 15 minutes from start to finish. You will need the following tools: a Phillips screwdriver, a standard screwdriver, and a 4mm Allen wrench. This process can be completed in 4 easy steps. Step 1, remove the controller tray. Step 2, remove the controller. Step 3, install your new controller. And step 4, reinstall the controller tray. As with working with any electric product, make sure you turn off the power before you begin. Now let's get started on step 1, removing our controller tray. The first thing we're going to do is flip the scooter over. Now this step involves removing a bracket, removing a cover, disconnecting the controller, unmounting the controller tray, and sliding the tray out. First, let's take our Phillips screwdriver and remove the Phillips head screw at the top of the scooter. Now you can slide this plastic cover right off and set it aside. Next, we have to remove 4 Allen head screws to remove the bracket. There are 2 inside and 2 outside. Take your 4mm Allen wrench and remove those screws. Now that the screws are out, let's disconnect the throttle cable and remove the grommet to get the bracket out. Take your throttle cable, pinch the connector, and separate. Now take your standard screwdriver and pry gently against the grommet to pop it out. Pull the grommet out and set it aside. Now feed the throttle cable back through the frame. And slide the bracket out. Once it's out, you can set it aside. Now onto removing the controller cover. Take your Phillips screwdriver and remove the 4 screws securing the cover. Take the cover off and set it aside. Now let's remove the remaining 4 screws securing the tray. Take your Phillips screwdriver and start removing. Now at this point, all the screws on the bottom of the frame should be removed. So let's slide the tray up by pressing the power button in so it doesn't get caught on the frame. Once you have it up about an inch or so, go ahead and remove the grommet on the back side of the tray. The grommet's out, now set it aside. There are 2 wires coming from the back wheel. They split into 3 different plugs and we're going to unplug all 3 of them. Simply pinch and separate, and with the big yellow plug, it just pulls apart. Now that the 3 plugs are disconnected, the tray can be removed. Fold the scooter and slide the tray straight up. And that concludes step 1, removing our controller tray. Now with the next 2 steps, we don't need the scooter, so you can set that aside. Now on to step 2, removing the controller. We're going to remove every plug in the controller tray. I like to start with the battery. Trace the wires from the battery and find the plug, and simply pull straight apart. Next, locate the wires coming out of the controller and disconnect the plugs. There are only 2 left, so pinch and separate on each of them. Once those 2 plugs are removed, locate the grommet and pull it straight up. And set it aside. With the grommet removed, we can lift the controller straight up and out of the controller tray. And that concludes step 2, removing our controller. Now on to step 3, installing your new controller. Take your new controller, and remember to only use genuine Razor controllers. Set it in the tray. Run the wires through the holes and along the side. Now you can connect the battery. plug in the 2 wires coming from the power switch and charging port. Take the grommet and slide it down on the side closest to the controller. This secures the wires in place. Once plugged in, that concludes step 3, installing our new controller. Now on to step 4, reinstalling our controller tray. Now you need to summon your scooter back. Take your tray and slide it straight in from the top. Make sure you depress the power switch so it will fit in the frame. I like to open it back up to make it a little easier for me to work on. Before sliding it all the way down, make sure to run the wires from the back wheel into the tray. Now that it's in place, you can connect the 3 connectors from the back wheel. They only go in one way, so you have nothing to worry about. Once plugged in, you are ready to reinstall the grommet. Slide it into place, securing the wires. The grommet's on, now slide the tray all the way down. Take your Phillips screwdriver and your Phillips screws and secure the tray. We're doing the 2 on top and 2 on bottom. Now that the 4 screws are in securing the tray, we can put the cover back on. Take your cover, set it in place, and take your screws and your Phillips screwdriver and screw it on. Once the tray's on, let's move up front and put the bracket back in. Take your bracket and slide it on. Now take your 4mm Allen wrench and your Allen head screws and secure the bracket. With the bracket secured, now we can pull the throttle cable through the frame. Once through, plug it back in. Now take the grommet, secure the wire in it, and press it into the bracket. Next, take your plastic cap and slide it on. Take your Phillips screwdriver and screw and secure the cap. Now flip the scooter back over and hit that power switch, make sure it works. I hope you found our video helpful and informative, but if you are still having any troubles or complications, please feel free to visit the customer support section on razor.com. Bye bye, little fly.